Hey! It's a noon train on time?
Supposed to be.
Feels like it's time.
Yeah.
BBN Jack Frost, what's up, party people? How's everybody doing? I'm hoping everybody's having a beautiful day. I want to apologize that we haven't had a show in quite some time. I haven't been feeling well, so there's been no show. Boom. With that being said, we have quite a few things to talk about, and we have to actually have a real big discussion about the Trump situation regarding tariffs, and even more importantly, regarding the misinformation that the Democrats have been giving out to their party. Once again, I am not angry nor upset at the voting Democrat class. Even the only ones, like the people that's out there just doing radical stuff, like, what's going on with you? But regardless of them, you know, generally speaking, I am not upset nor disappointed in the voting Democratic Party for the most part, because I do understand that many of the things that they're voting on, they believe that Trump was guilty of how many ever felonies, while at the same time saying that felons deserve a second chance because they're the Democratic Party, and that's basically what they've been campaigning for years. With that being said, but anyway, in any regard, besides that, sans that, without that, we also have to look at just the construct of how they decide to disseminate information to their party. And the reason why this is so important to me and why I think that this is such a big deal is because you have a lot of people who are good people who want to do good things and want not just the world, not just America, but the world to subsist on positive messages and on people prevailing over evil, good winning out, and Satan losing, right? But the problem is that Satan has created a blur, a mirage, so to say. So it makes it very difficult for people to see who's coming from the light sometimes and who's coming from the dark. Now, with that being said, we're going to be discussing some of the things that the Democrats have been doing that I think that their voting party needs to know. This is not an affront on them, just so we can be clear. We're also going to be talking about Big U and Big U situation. For everybody that don't know, Big U is a West Coast gang member, so says the FBI and the people who have indicted him. And we'll talk about some of the things that Big U have been involved in, or at least that he said he's been involved in, and some of the things that it has been noted that he has been involved in because he has worked with law enforcement previously doing things also, just so we can be clear. And we're also going to be talking about basically this whole idea of having to call in when you go somewhere, like, yo, man, they didn't tap in over here. Nobody's lets us knows that they was going to be in the vicinities. Then somebody got robbed. Who knew? Like, so we're going to be discussing that also. Also, while discussing Big U, we're going to be having a conversation about Nipsey Hussle. I want to be clear on this. We're going to be having a conversation about Nipsey Hussle. And I think that this is important because if what they're saying is correct, happened to Nipsey Hussle, what that leaves the door open for a lot of these instances and situations where rappers have come up deceased or unalived. We're going to open up more avenues for an exploratory investigation beyond who they were beefing with. Because let's just be honest, we all know how street shit work. And often in the street, the people who are snitching is the people who are involved in the activity. It's not some random dude over there that don't know nothing. Because even if the police know what you're doing, they need to know how you're doing it in order to really be able to prosecute you. And that's what people don't understand. So even if some random idiot, you know what I'm saying? Because first of all, I don't believe that us as the public should be getting involved in certain activities. Leave that to the people who this is what they do for a living. And in any regard, somebody decides to inform the police on another individual, and that's leading right into a story that we're about to talk about in 2 seconds, and then we're gonna wrap all of this up because it's just the lead-in. But then the police show up. The police do an investigation, at the very least. The police don't show up because some random person that don't know the intricacies of your operation called them, and now all of a sudden they got a whole entire RICO on you. Did you commit a crime against this random person? Because if so, then that can be an issue. But other than that, that's not how this works. And this is coming from a person that has successfully told you the outcomes of many a trial. Not just whether the person was going to be found guilty or innocent overall, but even the individual counts, what they're going to be found guilty and innocent of, I've been correct on. Just so we could be clear. Multiple trials. Video still exists. Shout out to Most High. Glory be to God. Jesus is King. Now, with that being said, last story that we're going to be covering today is we had a young lady, I believe her name is Demi Blanco. These names. She is, I believe she's on Baddies or one of those shows with the toxic women. I'm just going to say what it is, fam. I know y'all love those shows. I don't watch those shows. I don't watch things like that because it's going to infect my mind. You understand what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. So when I'm thinking about finding somebody that I'm going to be, compatible with, I'm not looking for the most aggressive, confrontational female that I could lay eyes on. So therefore, content that is created that promotes that type of activity, it just isn't for me. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with men that's like, yo, I like them chicks that we get into a fight every now and then, or I like them chicks that give me them reasons to beat them up. Like, nah, we're not doing that. I'm not on that type of time. I don't want to laugh at nothing, man. I'm not on that type of time. So, those things are just not interesting to me. That's just not interesting to me. The women that I grew up watching, you know, I was very fortunate to grow up watching. Their strength lied in their femininity. It didn't lie in them how masculine they could be. So I'm just not really receptive to masculine women. That's just not what I'm receptive to. I don't see that as a woman's power. I think a woman's power lies in their femininity. And any real man is going to see a woman in her feminine strength, and he's going to respond accordingly. It's them men that's not used to women in their feminine strength that's gonna be violent to your sister or your mother or your daughter or your aunt or your, you know, whoever. You understand what I'm saying? They're not used to seeing feminine strength, so therefore, you know, they don't understand it. You know, it is what it is, man. Y'all making new type of dudes out here nowadays. That's why they punching chicks in the face for nothing. Like, I mean, I can't see many reasons to do that, but that's why they're doing it. They still doing it over nothing. This is why, fam. But take it however you want to take it. In any regard. This young lady, Demi Blanco, decided to call the cops on a dude that I believe that she used to be in a relationship with called Young Scooter, saying things that was not true over the phone to the police, encouraging the police to come with extreme force, which then had them chase the young man, and he ended up trying to jump over a fence and something like that in order to get away. and he ends up getting punctured in the leg. He didn't get shot. The police didn't get him. The police showed up because they believed that there was a woman being held hostage in the building, in the home, that was also being said to be a drug lab of some kind. So especially in this world that we're living in right now, when you're making these type of accusations, the police is showing up like you them dudes from freaking, not Colombia, where those dudes is from, Argentina. They showing up like you them. Oh, I gotta tell you about that right after this, and then we gonna talk. Them dudes, they showing up like you them dudes from Argentina. So they showed up for real, for real. They not talking. So dude tried to skate on them, and as he was boogieing, he tried to jump over the fence, and then they saying that he got, I guess, stabbed in the leg by like a something wooden, and then, you know, you got that artery in the leg. I guess it was nicked or punctured, and then he didn't make it to the hospital in time. So she's been arrested, and rightfully so. We're going to discuss that because we're living in a new day and age. And I want to say something, and these type of females piss me off, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm tired of our culture being about making each other look bad. And what I mean by that is, I'm tired of our culture is, in order to be a real man on some television program or something like that, you have to literally be a toxic nigga. I don't like that they'll show a dude in a character and he's just a regular person and he's doing great things and he's black, but they also have to show you he also drinks 40s. I'm not here for any of that. Just so we can be clear. That's not content for me. So it's also not content for me to just see women of any race, background, culture, creed, nationality, ethnic origin, religious belief, anything with the vagina, just fighting, and it's not like boxing or MMA or some kind of event that they have judges and rules and it's prize money and medals. I'm not for any of that content. I don't understand why we watch it. Not we being me, but we as a people. Now, with that being said, now this young lady finds herself in hot water and she's still not wanting to take responsibility for her actions. Now, there's going to be some people that's going to make it seem like the police did something wrong. They didn't, as far as I can tell, I didn't hear about them even firing a shot. They showed up to a location where someone was allegedly being held hostage. There was allegedly a woman being dragged into the building, naked. I say it right here. I don't think she should be allowed back out in the public. I don't think she should be allowed back out into the public. I don't think so. I think she should get 20 to 25. I think it should be at least 18 before the possibility of a parole. What up, Gotti? For the possibility of a parole, I think it should be about 18. I think that I think there need to be bigger penalties for individuals that call the cops on people for no reason. I don't care if you're family. I don't care what. It's one thing to call them because there's a domestic dispute and you're like, we're not trying to get nobody arrested or nothing. We just need to be separated. I'm kind of okay with that, right? I'm 100% okay with someone actually abusing someone and the police needing to be called. I'm okay with all of those things. Those is viable scenarios. I'm talking about when the person says, you're not doing what I want you to do, and if you don't, I'm going to call the police on you. I'm talking about situations like that. Those exist. I lived in a situation like that for many years. In any regard, let's move on to our actual main topic of today, and that is the situation regarding around our tariffs and the Democrats. I was going to say something else in regards to, I don't have any videos for us today. I'm so sorry about that. I was going to say something else in regards to, I'm so sorry. The young lady with the, so remember when I told y'all, when they first said they're going to start shipping them gangs out into freaking Guantanamo and all those other places? Remember when I told y'all to start getting y'all shit right? They're not going to just be shipping the gang members from America out there. Remember I told y'all that because Trump has said it. I didn't guess it. He just said that he was in preliminary talks with a couple of other nations to send the gang members, American gang members, to go do time in their country jail. Remember I told y'all that? Guess what? Guess what might start happening? So now I'm going to say a couple of things real quick, and then we're going to talk about the tariff situation. Every race on the planet know that American blacks are special. I'm not saying that other races of people aren't special. I'm saying everything and everyone exists for a reason. So while some people have other goals and responsibilities, other people have other goals and responsibilities. And I'll give you an example from the Bible. In the Bible, the Levites were the ones that took care of the temple. So whenever there was a temple, Levites, Puerto Ricans, Levites were the ones that took care of the temple. So whenever there was a temple, the Levites took care of the temple. Everybody had their responsibilities. So I'm saying all that to say this. Imagine if America is actually holy ground. Just throw this out there. Just imagine. And imagine if there was an idea or a concept, whether it's real or not, there was a belief that there was a certain people that their energy, if we can get all of them to believe or think in a certain manner and put their energy in a certain direction, that we can make things happen in the physical plane. So I'm not saying any of this shit is true, and I'm not saying any of this is real, but we have stories about people allegedly drinking infants' blood. Is this too far out of the idea of the concept that this is something that somebody might think is real, even if it might not be? So I'm saying all that to say this. Imagine the idea of getting all of the negative energy out of America so the positive energy can thrive. You want to know something wild? The Bible says. How did I kick the thing in a bot? You still spelled it wrong? Ah, sheesh. I pressed all the things wrong. Ah, sheesh. I did a whole bunch of stuff wrong. There we go. All right, purging. This is obviously, I didn't even mean to go here. I meant to go somewhere else. But let me see about purging. Thanks. Think about America as the community, right? The Bible, and particularly in Deuteronomy's, Corinthians, and 1 Corinthians, speak about purging the community by removing individuals who are flagrantly unrepentant in their sin. See, I think that we need to really just not start looking at like our independent individual lives on a more of a macular scale. I think that we should also look at it like that also in regards to the world. Just so we could be clear. Oh shoot, I got the wrong screen on. Sorry about that. There we go. Why was the other screen on? The right screen on. All right, whatever. All right, I see why I was doing that. Sorry about that. In any regard, so what do you think would be happening when I'm gonna give you two conversations of this of understanding, just so we can be clear. But what do you think will be happening when Trump removes, you know, we're at migrants right now, but when he starts removing other people who are individuals who are flagrantly unrepentant of their sin from America, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? So let's think about that for one moment in that realm of comprehension. So we're looking at it like if we remove the evil or the people who are just willfully doing wrong. Notice we're saying that. We're talking about the people who are flagrantly doing evil. We're not talking about people who they made a mistake. Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna have people that's like, what about the guy that he was in a car accident, he accidentally. We're not talking about that person, obviously. What about the guy that he was in a fight and he accidentally. We obviously aren't talking about that guy. What about the guy who he's done murdered about 6 people? We're probably talking about that guy. We're definitely talking about that guy. 100%. What about the people that we give, life sentences to? Absolutely all of them. 100% of them. We giving them life sentences. Why are we going to keep them in America for? Even if we sent them to another country and then paid that other country to keep them, we'd still be spending less money. We'd still be saving quite possibly hundreds of millions a year. So why wouldn't we do that? These people got life sentences. The only reason why we're not going to ship the people on death row is because we got to kill them here. What do you think is going to actually happen? I don't think people really understand what's going on. And I'm saying all that because pay attention to what I'm going to say next. If removing those people from the country, right, as far as God is concerned, purges our community, then what happened when they opened the borders up and allowed anybody to come in that wanted to come in? What happened when they called up the president of Argentina and told him to ship all of their people that was locked up in prison that he didn't want? What were the Democrats trying to do in that regard? Why are the Democrats fighting so hard to get the planes full of the criminals to turn around? There's other planes going out also. Those aren't the only planes. They're shipping out thousands of people a damn day, damn near, right? Why are they only complaining about the planes that got the criminals on them? And nobody has been thinking about that. I haven't seen them complain about anything else other than they're taking the criminals. Why is that what they're complaining about? Why did they just hold the filibuster or whatever the hell? I think that's what you could hold on some cheesies. Because I hate when I say something and I'm not 100% correct, but I do know, I think I'm pretty, I know what I'm talking about over here. I have no idea how to spell the word. So that's what they did. They held a filibuster, where it was basically a prolonged debate and delay or to prevent a vote on a bill or some whatever the hell they was doing. And it was like the longest one ever. And your man Cory Booker held it. I used to have such respect for Cory Booker. Pardon me. Whenever I had a conversation with someone and we were basically speaking about Democrats, that I was like, well, there was a Democrat that was doing his shit, because at one point Cory Booker was doing his shit. I think the people, that's why I keep saying, the individuals who need to be removed are the people that's in power of the Democratic Party. Once the people that are right now in power of the Democratic Party is removed, then a new Democratic Party can grow up from the remains. That's what needs to happen. Now, that's not going to take 2 years. That's not going to take 3 years. That's going to take a little time. At least a decade. I'm just being honest with you. Because as of right now, they're not even doing anything to repair the problems. Because the people that's in power know that they have to be removed. See, this is the thing that I don't get about. Everybody has seen Star Wars, right? I'm just going to break it down the smallest. Because I know we've all seen Star Wars, right? So, generally speaking. So, we've all seen the prequels, right? We've all seen the prequels, right? So, we know a little bit about. So, I'm going to explain it this way, just so we could be clear. So, Palpatine wanted to be in charge of everything. But in order for him to be in charge of everything, he couldn't just come in and say, vote for me. He had to do two things. The first thing he had to do was to get competent people to say, look at him. The second thing that he had to do was to get other people who are competent, look incompetent. Actually, ask away, fam. Ask away. Incompetent. You get what I'm saying? So once again, the first thing he did was, one of the first things he needed to salute, my brother. One of the first things he needed to do was, the first thing he actually did was make the competent people look incompetent, but they were competent. And then the second thing he did is have other competent people point at him and say, he's the guy to lead us. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's just what he needed to do. Now, pay attention to what the Democratic Party is currently doing. All of the things that America actually want, the Democratic Party is saying, Trump is giving those things to you, and we don't want him to. So what are they doing every time they do that? They're pointing at Trump. This is why their number's going to keep going down. The second thing that they're doing, every single thing that they're saying is being found out to be false. They're lying on a grand scale. Incompetence. They got $1.5 billion to run a campaign. The campaign was 3 months long and they went in debt. How? But y'all gonna run the budget. I'm gonna tell you what their plan was. Their plan was to win and just print money and forget the debt. That's what their plan was. But they lost in any regard. But they knew they was gonna lose anyway. That's the problem. They knew they was gonna lose. That's why the people were mad, because they like, you knew you was gonna lose. The information that y'all was giving us that was making us donate more money led us to believe that there was a possibility that you was gonna win. When in all trueness, you already knew that you was gonna lose. And not only did you know that you was gonna lose, you knew that it was gonna be a landslide. So anyway, so Shah Brim says, so they're going around saying he's trying to bring back segregation and taking out black history out of museums. What's your take on that? All right, so the first thing we need to do is have a real conversation. But we're not right now. But in order to really be honest about this, we'd have to have a real conversation about what our actual American history is. Right, so imagine, for argument's sake, if a majority of the information that we have in our history books is false. I'm going to show you something real quick. I used to filibuster page. Hold on, let me show you something real quick. Two things I'm going to show you. First of all is, when was the... I started fucking typing. I don't know. I was thinking something else. No, man, where y'all trying to find out where it was at? 1867, the Board of Education was created during the presidency of Andrew Jackson. Through the modern U.S. Department of Education was established in 1980. I want you to pay attention to this. 1980, but basically there was a regime and everything put into place or whatever, but it was to the states. It was not to the federal government. So there was a Board of Education, but it was to the states. The individual states took care of whatever their scholastic issues were, or whatever the case was. And 1980 is when it was changed over and it was nationally made. That's when Board of Ed turned national. So that's important. So hold on, I'll leave that there for a second. So what was your question again? Bring back segregation. So So, civics education in American schools didn't stop being taught entirely, but the time devoted to it significantly increased around the 1960s. Why this is important? Hold on, let me leave that there. All right, so the term social studies, okay, so basically this is how long back they was teaching social studies, right? But hold on, let me show you something. And then I'm going to explain the difference between what social studies is real quick and what civics is. So you can understand what the issue is before I can even answer your problem and answer the question. All right, so I can't find a better. I don't want to hold us too long with this. So basically, what you have to understand is when the Board of Ed took over schools in the 1980s, one of the things that they did was they removed civics. Civics was removed. So when they took over, and what I mean by removed, I mean they still teach civics in some places, but I'm in New York City. I'm telling you right now, they did not teach civics. So what's civics? The study of civilization, government, and the state, including the rights and obligations of citizens, as well as how government institutions and processes function. So they took civics away from us. They took the teaching of and this is one of the things why I'm still fortunate because of when I went to school. Because in my school, PS59, they were still teaching civics. They mixed it in with social studies. I think when they first started teaching social studies, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that just in general. That's just something that they did in general, just so we can be clear. But yeah, so they mixed it in. So we had civics inside of our social studies. So not only did they teach us the history of America or the history of the world or whatever the case might be, but they also taught us about the Constitution, and they taught us about a whole bunch of other things that was civics in any regard. So they basically removed civics, not entirely, but its main function, which was to teach children how America worked, so we can all be inside of the law, and so we can understand what our rights are. That's basically what civics is. That was removed, and it was replaced with social studies. So social studies is just the study of society, right? It's just various aspects of branches of the study of human society considered as an educational discipline, right? But you want to know the thing about social studies? Social studies is just the collection of the idea of what people are saying happened. It's not actually always what happened. And I'm going to give you proof of that. So remember when they said JFK, the way he was shot? The guy was in the freaking hedges or whatever the hell. Then it was like, he was in the bell tower. Then why that information coming out now saying that Jade was the driver that did it? Why is the CIA information coming out saying that? Okay, so something a little bit more relevant or prevalent or something a little bit more to today or whatever the case might be, right? So I'm being mindful not to say nothing about C-19. So we're not going to talk anything about that. So let's talk about something else, just in general. Remember when the Democrats told you that tariffs were going to make everything more expensive, and other countries were going to, when they import the goods, the prices were going to go through the roof? And remember Trump said that that's not what's going to happen? Think about all of the people that believed the Democrats for one moment. That's what social studies basically is. People saying a thing that might not necessarily have happened. They just got it in a book and they're teaching it to children. They should be teaching civics. So do I care about the museums or the teachings or all of that stuff? No, I don't as much as others, because I don't even believe most of it to be true. I'm so fortunate to have grown up with shout out to the 5% Nation. I'm so fortunate to have grown up around so many 5%ers. People that was, no matter what they other issues in the world was, they were actively discussing what was going on in the world. I'm so fortunate to have been around as a child, because I'm talking 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, when it started. No, everybody I was around growing up, when they was around, basically was 5%ers. Because that's what my brothers were. That's what my cousins were. That's what my uncles were. So I say all that to say this. It's not a Mandela effect y'all going through. It's that mind control is wearing off. That's what's happening. This ain't a Mandela effect. It's not no alternate existence. Niggas was under a hypnotism. Under a spell. It's wearing off. That's all that's happening. That's it. And as far as segregation goes, when do we always talk about how blacks were powerful? You know how this is the thing that I have, the issue that I have with, not you, Shy. Shout out to Shy Brim. Not you. But this is the issue that I have with a lot of people that try to talk pro-black shit. Because they don't even know about the time or the period. They will have these conversations based on information that they currently have that they would not have been able to have while the thing was going on. So they'd be like, I would have never did that because, yeah, but you know this because it's after the fact. This is all hindsight. This has nothing to do with in the moment. So let me explain to y'all something. You want to know the real reason why they got rid of segregation? Pay attention. Who did the black people work for? The majority of black people, right, worked for white people. Correct? So white people paid them. Correct? And then white people said that they weren't allowed to go to their stores. Correct? So they had no choice but to take this money that the white people paid them and go to colored people establishments to spend the money. Correct? Do you know what an exchange of economy is? So, in an exchange economy, goods and services are traded or exchanged. Shout out to Shy Brim with the $10 drop, salute. Goods and services are exchanged, either directly bartered through medium exchange like money without production taking place. It focuses solely on the distribution and consumption of pre-existing resources, right? So, how do you build economy, right? Because that's what I wanted to go to, right? So hold on, pay attention. So fostering economy growth, diversification, innovation, collaboration, along with supporting local businesses, investing in infrastructure and education, and promoting free, fair exchange, trade, right? So check this out. This is the part I want you to pay attention to, along with supporting local businesses. So what happens when the black people who are working, primarily the majority of the individuals who are the employers are whites, Caucasian, right? So they're taking the money that they make with the white people and they can only spend it in black establishments of color. What do you think that's doing to the white economy? Now I want you to go look at who is one of the biggest spenders of money on the planet. What demographic? So no, he's not bringing back segregation. What he's doing is removing the laws that we don't currently need anymore, that prevented segregation from happening. But in reality, if segregation was to happen and black people decided to only spend money at black businesses, that would make us one of the richest nations on the planet. How much spending power do black people have? Hold on. So, black Americans hold significant buying power, estimated to be 1.98 trillion. So, I'm not sure where the issue would be at if we spent more of our money with us and less is our money other places. I don't really care where anybody's spending their money. I think you should spend your money where you feel comfortable spending your money. If it's with a Caucasian person, an Asian person, a black person, I don't really care. Spend it with me though. Shout out to that shit. In any regard. So, yeah, I don't care. It's of no regard to me. But the point that I want to make, just so we can be clear, is the museums I don't really care for because a lot of that history is fake. And it's the segregation is why we don't have Black Wall Street no more. You know how many Black Wall Streets we would have if segregation stayed a thing? We'd have Black Wall Streets all over. First of all, there were Black Wall Streets all over the place, just for the people that don't get it. Those towns are now buried under lakes and in mud. You go do some American history, you'll get it. I'm not going to go into all of that over here because it's really incendiary and it's going to piss me off. But there were a ton of Black Wall Streets. Okay? They were all over the place. Because like I said, black people couldn't spend money in white establishments. So that meant every time a black person go work for a white person, they come back and they spend it with black people. That made us richer. I don't understand how, like, that just, I don't know, whatever. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, to me, it just makes sense. In any regard, let's talk about this Trump tariff thing. Any other question you got? Any other question, Sha? I hope I answered that well. Yeah, hold on. Before I even said all of that, Sha Brim said, before I said all of that, he put up, I honestly think the segregation is a good idea. We did great when it was. Man, that's a fact. We did great. And this is actually a great way to lead into the tariffs conversation, because that's another conversation on the economy. And once again, I think that people just don't understand how the economy works. So it's easy for whatever politician it is to lie, because they could just try to make it seem like they're breaking it down for you. You know what, this is too complicated for your minds is, so I'm just gonna tell you this in the most little itty bittiest pieces of portions that I can give to you. So that's what they do sometimes. But while they're doing that, they leave out the grander idea or concept of why things are done. So it seems like something might be petty when it's actually for a great reason. So I want to be clear on this, and I don't want there to be no misunderstandings. We did not always have income tax. They have tricked you into believing that income tax is necessary. I at one time also believed that income tax was necessary. They have tricked you. It's not necessary. So I told y'all, that the Trump tariffs was a good idea. I was having a conversation with one of my homeboys, and I was like, yo, Trump tariffs is a great idea. Saw him today, by the way. I was like, yo, Trump tariffs is a great idea. He was like, yeah, but what if this happens and what if that happens? And all of his what ifs were the things that the Democrats say that just, what are you talking about? Like, not my homie, but the Democrats. Are you in drugs? What are you talking about? This is absolute insanity. I know how the economy works. So when they be saying certain things, I'd be like, that doesn't make sense. In any regard, just so we could be clear, if another country was importing a good here, got hit with a tariff, so they said, we're going to make the American people pay by raising the price, they're going to price themselves out of the market. And what that then is going to happen is they're not going to sell. And Americans are then going to be forced to buy American. You're not going to have a choice. So by this happening, two things happen. We start buying more American goods, which actually drives the price of the American goods down because we're purchasing them at a higher volume. Now, in addition to that, that also means that the workers that they have making whatever goods it is and whatever other services is that they need to supply in order to be able to sell this good and or product, they have to increase. So these are jobs. I said this. And you still have people saying, no, the price is going to go up. Watch, y'all going to pay. I said the only way around that is if they just remove the taxes, because the taxes are reciprocal. So what did all of these countries do? So many countries just removed the taxes on American goods. So now our American companies can sell their goods in other countries and prosper like they sell their goods in America and prosper. How in the hell are the Democrats against this? How are they against this? In every metric, America benefits. Every metric. Besides the fact that tariffs have also forced other companies to then now say that they're going to build factories in America just so they don't have to go through all of the, the tariff problem. So those are more jobs to American citizens. And then Trump even went a next step and said that if you buy an American-made car, the insurance on your vehicle, what did he say about it? I want to make sure I'm correct on this. Because these are all of the reasons why the Democrats basically tell us we should be hating Trump. You got to hate Trump. Hold on. That's a... I'm looking for specifically. Let me see. Yeah, they're going to say ear. I don't know, because these guys. Look. On Wednesday, Trump announced a 25% tariffs from this Thursday on all cars, light trucks, and auto parts imported into the U.S., a move experts calling devastating. Look, what the heck are they talking about? Almost half of the 16 million cars sold in the U.S. last year were imported, with a total value exceeding $330 billion, according to the news reports quoting Goldman and Sachs. It's not clear whether the tariffs will go into effect as laid out on Trump's latest announcement, or if there will be exceptions or any roadblock. But one thing we know for sure, says Ian Geckel, a senior economist at the Anderson Economic Group, is that the Trump's policies are protectionist and are not free market and free trade the way the U.S. has done things for decades. Now that it's shifting, that's the new rule. The companies have to pay accordingly, and will have an increased business presence in America. Could I say something real quick? Shout out to this guy, Ian. I don't know how to say that. Is it Ian? That's how you say Ian? Hold on. Elon? That might be an L, right? That's an L. Elon Echo. Echo? I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if they can get a pronunciation for this shit. Probably can't, though. You gonna let me? What is wrong with this page? I yelled that out in the game. And the dude was like, "Ooh, you yelled at the red bastard to the guy." And the other dude was like, "Yeah, but he kind of is one." I was like, you know what? Shout out to you dudes. So it's this guy. Yeah, he looks like he knows what he's talking about. But how do you say his name?
The name of this United States representative. The pronunciation of her name, American politician, Ilhan.
Okay, so his first name is Ilhan. All right, so that's good enough. I already knew that, though. So that is an L. I don't know. Ilhan Gecko? I don't know how to say that guy's name. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. I get distracted. And this is why I need a wife. I get distracted. What was I doing again? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, in any regard, shout out what this dude says, though. Check this out. I found this interesting. So, basically, what I was just talking about how it helps America, and he said that his policies are protectionist. I think that we should all be focused on that right here. I think that that's interesting. That this individual we just looked him up real quick. It's certified. This guy right here, if this loads back in, I don't know what it's doing. But anyway, that guy right there, Ilhan Echo, is a senior economist at the Anderson Economic Group, AEG, and he said Trump's policies are protectionist. So what are the Democrats talking about? Look, some car manufacturers, including Korea's Hyundai and Kia, have announced plans to boost production in America. That means more jobs for Americans. I don't understand how this is bad. While that gives the impression that Trump is right to argue tariffs will force manufacturers to produce more in America, the full picture is more complicated, he says. He said the U.S. really is the best in terms of the size of the market. The U.S. really is the best in terms of the size of the market. That means that Trump gets to dictate terms. He basically just said that the U.S. is a market that you have to be in just because of the size of it alone. You want to know why? Do you want to know why? I'll show you a why right now. So we represent 13% of the U.S. population, labor force, right? This is not what I was looking for, so I'm going to change this. How much are? So black people were estimated to spend anywhere between 1.6 to $2 trillion a year. Do you understand? I don't think people understand. You know how I keep trying to tell you that Trump is trying to give more money to the minorities? You know how I keep trying to explain that to everybody, but for some strange reason, you have a group of individuals that think that he's trying to do the opposite. Trump is trying to get more money to minorities, especially black people specifically. And there's a reason for that. He's a businessman. Him and his friends own businesses. You want to know when people spend money? When they're happy. When they're happy and when they got money. It's literally the Trump's benefit for us to be happy and to have money. Now, remember we was doing that little conversation a little earlier about how segregation worked, where we were not allowed to be able to spend money in other establishments. So therefore, we only spent money in our establishments while we were actually going to the white people to make the money. So we were sapping their community of money while we were bigging up our own community. So what do you think has been happening to the rest of the world as far as America is concerned with this USAID bull at BS? You see, when I have these conversations with individuals, I know they often just think that they're right because of the way that they feel. They have some kind of emotional connection with the Democrats being able to steal money or something. I don't know. Who the hell am I? I just like this idea. I need a red one of these. I think it came with a red one. I gotta go find it because, like, I always feel away when I have the black one and I'm wearing a black shirt and I'm like, can people see the mic? The mic is part of the thing going on. Anyway, I have a red one in any regard. So, or orange, because these lights are actually orange. I don't know what they look like to you guys, except for those green ones that they burnt out. With that being said, in any regard. By them going and having USAID get all of our tax money and then basically open up clinics in other countries and then take our tax money and send it to these clinics. And before you say, but we got to say the members, these clinics was to do stuff like gender reassignment, experimental jabs. This wasn't clinics open because people break their leg over there and you need a splint. These wasn't clinics open because the malaria problems. Told you, I do not trust democratically open clinics. I keep telling you that. I do not trust democratically open clinics. I just don't. I just don't. Not even a little. I don't want any more clinics being opened up that are in directly associated with a hospital. And I don't want any drug clinics open up in our communities at all. I want y'all to take all drug clinics and put them in an actual damn hospital somewhere. Stop putting them next to schools and places of Congress where there's going to be kids at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when you letting all of these people out from taking whatever medicines that they needed to take. Go move that to the hospital. Sheesh. I want to see that. Also, and I want to be clear about this. I don't want there to be no misunderstanding. I need to understand why Democrats don't want our food to be healthier. I seen people complaining that you're not going to be able to buy soda on EBT. Why were you ever able to buy soda on EBT? I always assume when they allow you to buy soda, that's because the store is just, a cool store. They just like, we don't care. I think people should get more money in EBT, but I do think that there should be greater restrictions. I'm going to say that again. I think people should get more money in EBT, but I do think there should be greater restrictions. I think soda's one. I think candy is another. I think potato chips is another. Cookies and snacks, I think, is another. I think that they should give you a cash value also, that you could spend your cash value on that shit. But I think the actual card with the EBT, I think, no. I'm fine with that being, because you're still going to go to stores and they're still going to do whatever they're going to do. They're still going to do whatever they're going to do. But I think we should be trying to promote health. I went to the store the other day and I bought a ton of sodas. I do not ever, first time I've been drinking soda in a long time. So I drink a ton of sodas. Right? I don't really drink soda that much. Right? I probably started drinking the soda again probably the last 6 or 7 months. Don't really drink soda in any regard. I can feel the difference. So much so that I'm not going to drink soda. Let me tell you a story real quick. So I used to work with this dude named, great guy. His name was Bernard Worthy. Great guy. So funny. He was like, yo, we should do a podcast. We used to be cutting up in the truck all the time. We used to do moving and storage. We used to work for a flat rate. So we had a falling out. I wanted to be a foreman, and not any fault of his own. The company liked us as a team. They made more money with us as a team than they would if they separated us. Right? And we called our own shots. So now looking back on it, you know what? I know it was my journey to go through it. But now looking back on it, I'm like, you know what? I would have been fine never being a foreman. Because my whole thing is I wanted to be promoted to be a foreman. And that's probably the only job I ever had that I wanted a promotion. Every other job I hate promotions, but I wanted a promotion there. But I think I should have kept the team together in any regard. So that was on me. So I used to work with him, guy Bernard Worthy, right? Yeah, we could talk about the imported goods, Mexico thing. Give me 1 second. sheesh. Why was I bringing up Bernard Worthy? I spent so much time setting the dang thing up that I forgot what I was gonna say. But absolute great guy, Bernard Worthy. I remember what I was gonna say, and then I'll tell you. Used to work with him. He was a good guy. It was fun. Anyway, I forgot what I was gonna say. I took way too long setting it up. So I will answer this question. Actually, I was fine until I read the question, and then I started thinking about some other stuff. So Shabrim says, so you think it's gonna cause issues with the price of imported goods out of Canada and Mexico? Canada has already said that they're gonna drop all of their tariffs as long as the United States drop theirs. The United States has a reciprocal policy, so there was no need for them to say that. The United States is gonna drop theirs. It's a reciprocal policy. So Canada's going to drop their tariffs altogether. Now, with Mexico, that's a little bit different. So there's two things with Mexico and Canada, there's two things that they need to do. One is their tariffs on American goods. And the second thing is they have to stem the influx of fentanyl into America. So I think the issue with Canada is that Trump doesn't think yet that they're as serious about stopping fentanyl from coming into America as he wants them to be. So that might be where their issue is actually at right now, as far as I can tell. And as far as Mexico is concerned, Mexico has been, for lack of a better term, bending over backwards. They don't want no smoke. They want zero problems. And the reason why I think they want no smoking, the reason why I think they want zero problems is because, as far as I can tell, there's already United States military in Mexico. And they're getting busy as we speak. And they're not playing. I've been seeing... perfect time to bring up this since we're talking about terrorism. Just so we can be clear, cartels are listed as terrorist organization. So this is about to happen soon. Not soon, but this is where we're in a direction for this to go. I believe that this is something that might happen. This is not something I want to happen, just so we can be clear. But this is something that I believe it might lead to happening. And pay attention. Don't be surprised if parts of the Democratic Party start being labeled as domestic terrorists. They're already going in that direction. Thanks to the people that's firebombing Teslas, and thanks to the people who are organizing to attack Teslas. They got the one dude that did the firebomb, and they're about to give him 20 years. He's guilty. He did it. They're gonna give him 20 years. I promise you. All those other people that's been attacking Teslas, they are going because they're about to label this as a terroristic act. You understand? They already labeled it something, as some kind of act against Elon or something. But they're gonna label it a terroristic act, and so they're gonna group all of these people. Watch, they're gonna group all of these people. They're gonna group all of these people. Watch. Terrorist act. I promise you. They're going to group all of these people all together. And it's going to be a whole bunch of people that's going to say, but I never committed a crime before, but this is my first crime. And then there's going to be a lot of other people that's not even going to be American. They're going to be from some other country. They're going to all be the ringleaders. Watch. They're going to be from some other country. They're going to be some not American. And they're going to be all the ringleaders that was the ones putting everything together, making everything happen. I promise you. Watch. And the Democrats are going to be raising hell when these people get deported. And this is another thing that I think that they should do. We were speaking about how they're sending, that the possibility of them speaking about sending gang members and whatever out of the country to go do their crimes, to go do their time in other countries. And I was basically saying I think they should send more than just gang members. I mean, if you got somebody on life, he got life in prison, send him. If his appeal's up, I mean, we got to do something about that, then whatever. But send them. You got somebody that got the death penalty, we keep them because we got to kill them. You got somebody that got 20, 30 years, you send them. Go do their time over there. If they make it to the end, you bring them back. So as far as that policy is concerned, I'm 100% behind that. So this is what they're going to start doing. And this is what I think they should start doing. When you do crimes against America, I think they should also send you, even if it's just for 10 years. Even if it's not no crazy amount of time, you're doing crimes against America, send them. It's going to be cheaper to pay that other country than it is to house them in America. It's going to be cheaper to feed them down there, cheaper to clothe them, cheaper to keep them warm, cheaper to keep a roof over their head. Send them. Y'all want y'all sons to stop doing stupid crimes and going to jail for life? Boom. When he know he ain't never going to see his mama again? See, there's a thing about accountability when, you know, you don't hold your kids accountable. The law happens to find a way to. People think I be talking about the law and shit like that. And I be like, yo, don't commit crimes or whatever because I want people to get arrested or locked up that are committing crimes. I don't. There's crimes that I understand that I might not agree with. Like, I don't agree with the selling of drugs. I don't agree with it. But I do understand how our economy works right now. And if you removed 100% of drug selling in most communities, it will crash. The whole community will crash. Everything going on with the community, the money's going in, it would crash. The stores wouldn't even be able to stay open. That's why the stores wouldn't even be able to stay open. You understand? So while there are things I don't agree with, I do understand how everything works right now. And we're so entrenched, especially in lower income communities. We have so much crime entrenched inside of our communities that if all of that crime vacated immediately, like at the snap of a finger, it will probably in the immediate present do more harm to the community than the community would benefit. In the immediate after it, but you know, in the long run, absolutely more benefit. Remember, after all the crime leaves, that means there's no money being generated in the area. Like we've been talking about economy this whole entire time. You need to be able to generate income in the area. You need to be able to have money from outside of the area come into the area and get spent. As long as you only have money going out of the area and you never have money coming back into the area, that's not a benefit to the economy. So when the American taxpayer is paying taxes, and then that tax money that's supposed to be used for American things is being sent over to other countries, what are we doing to our own economy? So now when Trump says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise tariffs, and by me raising tariffs on all of these different things, I'm forcing businesses that don't generally do business in America to now move plants into America and hire our workers. Also, just by the act of them building plants in our country, that's going to bring billions of dollars. Also, it's going to allow, if these people don't adhere to the tariffs, it's going to allow for our auto manufacturers to have more competitive pricing. So it does so much. What about that? Was it a Ford plant or a Hyundai plant that was about to be moved, that was about to be built in Mexico? And instead of them building it in Mexico, now they're building it in America. That's a Donald Trump thing. That's 100% a Donald Trump thing. 100%. So those things happen. Anyway, in any regard, so many things I told you I was going to happen actually did happen. I'm actually pretty decent at this particular job. I'm pretty decent at it. I'm pretty decent at the actual job. You ever notice how when people don't like me, they try to tell you imaginary things about me that has nothing to do with me doing my job well or not? Stop allowing people to manipulate you emotionally. They just love doing that. I've been not in a great mood recently, having nothing to do with assholes or idiots. I really want to tell you I can't. But sometimes something is beautiful. Like, sometimes something could be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, ever. But that doesn't mean that there's not something else that's the actual attraction. I tell this story all the time. Not all the time, but I told y'all a couple of times. So Kendra comes to me while we're dating, and she says, "What do you like about me?" I have a bad habit of just being honest all of the time. So when I'm around certain people, I don't talk, because I don't think our relationship is there, and I know I'm gonna say something, because I don't hide the way I'm not fake in any regard. So how do you say this? Yeah, so I got to be careful. So it's a specific person, and I know there's people in anticipation. I don't like being watched. You know, you ever been somewhere, everybody's just like watching you, and I really don't like being watched. You know, it just, anyway. So shout out to Kendra. He said, "I just sent another one for that salute, fam. Salute the shot. You should have said, if you had Cash App, that would have really hit the spot. Appreciate you." First of all, I appreciate all donations, just so we could be clear. I know if I make a comment about anything, somebody is going to then try to make it seem like I'm saying something I'm not. I appreciate all donations. Appreciate you. One of the main reasons why Kendra still fucks with me to this day is because she told y'all on here, like, I don't lie. Like, I just don't. I just don't. Like, I'm not sure why I don't. Like, this, like, my whole life, I come up and people be like, yo, why don't you line up? Like, well, I don't lie for this reason. And all of the reasons are factual. Like, I talk way too much. So what the fuck? I'm going to lie. I talk way too much. If you a person on this page, you've noticed that I've been consistent with every single thing I'm ever saying. I'm always consistent. I'm not, like, always. Everything I'm saying, I'm consistent. Just so we could be clear. If I told you a story today, I told you that same story before, it was the same story. If it was 8 years ago, if it was 20 years ago, if it was however, it's the same damn story. I didn't take nothing out. I didn't put nothing in. All right, salute. Shout out to Sha Brim with the $10 drop. Appreciate you, Sha. And just so we can be clear, I've told many stories over and over and over again. I don't add anything. I don't take nothing out. I just don't. I just don't. So sometimes I don't talk to certain people because of the truth that I don't necessarily want to say. And it might be a good thing, just so we can be clear. But I don't trust myself with not talking too much. If that makes any sense. Especially if the person makes me feel happy. Like, my guard is going to absolutely drop. And I don't like not having my guard up. I'm just being honest with you. I don't like that. I like my guard to be up. I don't like my guard to ever go down. And so certain people, my guard go down. And it's really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. Like, it gives me anxiety. I ain't even gonna cap. In any regard, I was gonna tell y'all a whole different Kendra story, but my mind is just. Let's get back on topic. Let's get back on topic. Hold on. Shout out to my neighbor and shit. Cool dude. Shout out to my neighbors just in general. I love living where I live. Everybody around here is just really good people. As far as I can tell, like, I don't know if anybody got anybody tied up in a basement. So if you find that out, I was not in on it in any regard. All of my neighbors around here are just such good people, and I like living around here. And even the people that I don't necessarily know always say hi to me, so it's kind of dope. So it's kind of dope. Even the people I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? So there's this one neighbor I have, and I don't know. I've been talking to the dude every time I see him, like, since I met the dude. And so after, like, the first 5 or 6 months of me knowing the dude, then I found out that he don't even speak English. But, like, he speak English. It's like poquito, a little bit, right? He's not Spanish. He's something else. I don't want to say. But I've been stopping and talking to this mother. I've been talking to him. Like, I've been literally seeing him stopping, holding a real quick conversation, telling a joke, and pulling off on him, like, on a regular. Him and his wife. And then I found out that his English isn't that great. Of course, he did a barbecue, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to come over here, have some meats and some beers and shit?" So I hung out with them at their barbecue and shit. I was like, "Oh shit, his English is not that good," but he's had the manners to sit there and listen to my jokes for like 6-7 months. You know what? Shout out to that shit. Good people still exist. We should spend more time trying to be good people. I want to apologize. I'm just working through something. Any other questions? I'm just working through something. I want to apologize. Any other questions? Anybody got anything else you'd like to ask me? More than happy to answer. Sometimes you're not. So Kendra said, you know, what is it that I love so much about her? We were together for a period of time, and I 100% was in love with Kendra. That was a valid question. Right up to the phone. And I tried to explain to her, like, you know, there's tons of wonderful things about her, but I couldn't quantify why my heart felt that way. I didn't do it. God did. This was not a plan of mine. I wasn't. Sometimes God just puts something in your heart. I don't know how close anybody else is. I don't know anybody else's relationship with the Most High, but sometimes God just puts a thing in your heart, right? But it's a thing for you, but it's not for you yet. And you search, you're like, what is the thing I gotta accomplish and do? And then you find out what that thing is, and then you do it. And then you have the thing that God intended for you, because he didn't just intend you for it, he intended it for you. Whatever that thing might be. I didn't go to church on Sunday, and I really miss talking about God, hearing people talk about God. I only miss one Sunday. Yeah, there's not no girl in the church that I was trying to date, so I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. There's not one girl in the church I would try to date. I wouldn't necessarily even try to date any female because she was in the church. I would date the person that God sends to me, and I'm pretty sure whoever God sends to me would go to church if I went to church. I don't know what kind of men you guys are. I don't know. Like, hey, I would, you know, before I get to that time, I would let her know, look, it's a prerequisite. I don't need you to go 7 days out the week, but on Sunday we gonna be there with our Father. I don't need you to be there 7 days out the week, but on Sunday we gonna give God his time. God's gonna bless us. We're gonna have a nice life. We're gonna go thank him on Sunday, every Sunday. So yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about, but you know, if there is some chick in church that got scared of something, I erased the comment. Y'all just couldn't see it. If there is a chick in church that got scared over something, okay, hope it worked out for you. I haven't seen one female that went to our church that God put in my heart. So, I mean, I've seen a female come to church that God has put in my heart, but there is no female that is a current goer of our church that God has put in my heart. So, thank you for rejecting me. I guess. I mean, I don't know how to deal with that. In any regard, anything else y'all guys want to talk about? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah, so thank you for that. It's literally, I only like one female at a time, ever. Like, probably the last 25 years of my, like, I only like one female at a time. So, okay. That's why I never care when all of the women around here hate me. That's why it don't matter. I'm not interested in any of you, with all due respect. I'm only interested in one person right now. And depending on what happens, That's it. It is what it is. That doesn't mean that I don't think other women are beautiful. I'm not, that has nothing to do with anything. I think people regulate whether somebody wants to date somebody else based on looks too often. I think it just has to do with preference. I think it has to do with preference. Just so we could be clear. I'm old enough to know that all men want a soft wife, whether you realize it or not. Not all men can handle a soft wife, because some of y'all don't know how to treat women, you know, especially nowadays with this simp culture. But, you know, simps be the main dudes that end up beating on women, by the way, whether you understand why I just said that or not. Anyway, in any regard. So, I know I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody that's going to give me a hard life. So I don't want the loud woman. I don't want the argumentative person. I want the person that we could work together. I know I want to be able to, you know, I don't necessarily want a woman that works. I would prefer to be able to take care of us and have a home wife. I will prefer that. So these are things I will prefer. So when I see that a woman could cook, I see that a woman is cleanly, like, these are things that is gonna make me attracted to her. Not she got this job or she got that car, or like, that's not anything that's of any concern to me. Yeah, Shabrim said most of them are argumentative nowadays. I think our culture is the problem. I don't think it's as much our women. I'm talking to some kid I'm playing the game, and he was just like, said some stupid shit. And then I said something back to him. He was like, yeah, but everybody's hating nowadays. And so that was, no, matter of fact, it was at the damn center. So he said, everybody's hating nowadays. So that's the thing now. Like, you're not cool unless you hating. So know how Satan operate. Whenever you see anybody just hating on somebody, know how Satan operate. That's just Satan. You could say what you want to say. You could be like, I'm exposing all I'm doing. Are you? Or are you just trying to find anything negative that you could say about a particular person? Or did something actually happen that's noteworthy that everybody needs to know? Because there's a difference. You want to know what the opposite of the gospel is? Gossip. That's the opposite of the gospel. So if the gospel is the word, basically it's the truth, is, you know, the Bible is basically the gospel. Anything that is gossip is contrary to how we're supposed to conduct ourselves, right? Basically, if the gospel is the truth, gossip is. So who's the author of lies? So you're working for Satan. I don't know if women think it's cute or not. I think, and this is, so I was I was playing a game, and you know how you play and you just make one comment and then somebody just absolutely goes bananas and you didn't even say nothing negative. So I made a comment, and then the dude went absolutely bananas. Now, just so we could be clear, as soon as the game started, he said my name. He was like, "Oh, the spawn split." He knew who I was. Just so we could be clear. All right? Like, really that dude by accident. By accident, fam. In any regard. So he starts trying to get into a back and forth with me through the beginning of the thing. It might have been on live. I don't know. He tries to go back and forth with me in the beginning. I'm not going back and forth with him. So at some point, he's just yelling and screaming and talking crazy. And I say what it is. I say that this is not masculine. This is emotional. You're having an emotional moment in a masculine space. Because we're all men doing men shit. It might be video games, and you're like, but that's a kid's game. But we're men doing a kid's thing. So we're in a masculine place. You're bringing femininity into our place. That femininity runs contrary to masculinity, right? So when you have, just so we can be clear, when you have femininity that refuses to work with masculinity, and or masculinity that refuses to work with femininity, that's when the problem exists. Masculinity is not the problem, and femininity is not the problem. The individuals refusing to work together is the problem. But when you have perfect masculinity working with perfect femininity, that's when we're at our best. That's when we can make anything happen with just a word. That's when we're at our best. So what happens is this dude and his whole feminine energy decided all he wanted to do was argue over nothing. So the first thing I said to him was, you must come from a single mother household. He didn't answer me, but that made him go up 5, 6, 7 more octaves. The problem with men that come from single mother households is that women don't understand masculinity for the most part. When a woman sees a man in his masculineness, sometimes she perceives that as weakness because he's not being loud. Sometimes masculinity is quiet. So what she teaches her kids is, like, to protect yourself from a bear, you got to get big and loud. So she teaches her son the way that you protect yourself is to get big and loud. Why? Because when she's going up against men, she's the smaller creature. So she has to get big and loud in order for what she believes to be able to handle that confrontation. When in reality, real men respond to femininity. Period. Period. We have too many of these young kids out here that they don't see a man be a man. They don't see a man be respectful to women. They see women and men constantly arguing. So now they believe that women and men are on the same plane. So now they punching women in the face. They listen to their mama talk about how she'll beat a man ass for 15, 16, 17 years of their life. So now when they go up against a woman, they thinking that they have to protect themselves because a woman will beat them nigga ass. So that's the type of mindset I want to avoid. I'm not interested in that. I know that I'm not. I know that's going to make me unhappy. I'm going to make you unhappy. I'm not going to want to argue over nothing. I'm not going to want to do that. I'm not going to want to yell at each other in the middle of the street. I'm not going to want to do that. I'm not going to want to get into fake arguments with each other so we could go out with our friends. I'm not going to want to do that. I'm not going to want to do any of those things. So I would not put myself in that situation where I'm going to make you unhappy because those are things that are interesting to you. Those are things you're interested in. I would make you unhappy. I don't want to go out to the club all the time. I would make you unhappy. It's really just that simple. So sometimes, like, if you see a nigga not wanting to holler at you, you know, with the exception of one person, I'm so upset that I felt like I had to say that. You know, maybe you just aren't the person, and that's fine because I'm not the person for billions of people, and I'm fine with that. First of all, I'm not the person for no man alive or that has ever been alive. So that's a ton. I really don't want to tell jokes. I hate the fact that I'm telling jokes right now. I'm really not in the mood. You have no idea. I'm not trying to tell jokes. I'm just saying things that I just also happen to find funny. I really want to just go be quiet in any regard. So, I bought a belt for the got a belt. So, we do a jump rope competition at the center. I don't know if I'm going back, but we do a jump rope competition at the center. And we needed a belt for the winner. So in any regard. What was I saying? So sorry about that. What else y'all want to talk about? Put it in the chat. My mind just went somewhere else. I'm having a problem focusing. I'm trying my best. What else are we talking about? Talking about argumentative. But anyway, so a lot of the problem is on the men's side and on the women's side, just so we could be clear. I think that I think that there just needs to be God in the households. Oh, Big U, thank you. Oh shit. All right, yeah, so let's have this Big U conversation. So I want to be clear about something real quick. I don't want there to be no misunderstanding. Big U is known as a community leader over where he's at. He has been, as he's been saying, working with the police in order to do things in the community to keep drugs off the street, guns off the street, yakky smacky, whatever else he's saying. So before we get all the way into the Big U thing, I want to say, remember Whack 100 has been telling y'all about Big U for how many years? He's been telling y'all that Big U was faking for how many years? How many years have Whack 100 been telling y'all about Big U? So I'm gonna keep this as concise as possible. So the first thing that I want to say is what he's actually in trouble for is, and what they initially arrested him for, is that there was a rapper that he was supposed to be the manager or promoting or whatever the case might be. I forgot the guy's name. He went to a studio, he recorded a song, and in the song, he was just dissing Big U. The next thing you know, the guy comes up missing. The next thing you know, they find his body in the desert. Fast forward to Big U being arrested. Somebody actually came up off of the information. They put Big U in it. Boom. He's the problem. Now, in addition to that, they're also being accused of extortion. How they doing extortion? You know how they keep talking about you got to tap in, you got to call the place, and you got to tap in to let the people know where you was at, and this and this and that. So they're actually calling that, just so we could be clear, extortion, which it is. If you come to our area and you don't tell us you coming, we can't protect you from the goons. Yeah, nigga, you the goons. I'm going to tell you something that a lot of these street niggas like doing. Pay attention. What they like doing is acting like they buddies with you. Sending a problem your way and then pretending like they're going to help you with it. There's a whole problem. I've had people try that on me more than once. I always say, just do what you want to do. Why do you think I got all of these individuals making all of these pages about me, talking shit about me? Them niggas was threatening me with death. All types of stuff. They were talking about how they was going to unalive me, everything. I told them, do what you got to do. I'm not giving you nothing. It's so bad. Why do you think I keep saying these same individuals that keep telling you I'm a sucker and all this other shit, they send everybody else to come fight me. Now, I don't want to fight nobody. Let's just be clear on this. But these same people that talk crazy and talk about how I'm a sucker, I'm a pussy, and everything else, why they always sending other people to come fight me? Shout out to Tiny. Do they know something about me that you don't? Do they know something about me that you don't? The idiots that keep trying to pull up to fight me. Also, I don't want to fight nobody, so stay over there. Do whatever you do, whatever you doing. I don't got no time for any of that. I'm just being honest. I'm never going to forget. My father came to me one day. I was a teenager, probably about 18, 19 years old. It was about 2 years after I got my weights. That's all I know. It's about 2 years of me just working out with my weights every day, damn near. That's why I got to get some weights. Because I just work out. Like, I don't got nothing better to do. I just work out. Like, that's why even now, to this day, I take my shirt off. You're going to be like, what? Let's go! In any regard. My pops comes to me. And I think he heard about something. I was the idiot that lived in a neighborhood that stuck up for other people all the time. That was me. All right? That was me. I was the dude that when I was walking down the block and somebody was fucking with you, like, you called me and shit, like, hey, yo, Bob, B.O.B. Like, that was me. And then I come over and now everybody cool. Like, that was me. I don't got a cap. I'm from Concourse Village, 158th Street, South Bronx. I ain't got cap. Alright? They call me Psycho Bob. You could go talk to people. I ain't got cap. in any regard. Just be good people. Like, you don't never know. So that's what I used to do. You just walk around and just kind of like what I do now, but different. I used to just walk around and do good deeds. I used to be bored. So I just go outside and I just help people. I just be bored, man. That's why I keep trying to say I come from somewhere else. Like, what I mean by that is, like, mentally, I come from somewhere else. I see all the problems in our neighborhood. I get it. But I promise you, if you go to the neighborhood that I'm from, you'll think the neighborhood I live in right now is clean, safe. You be like, yo, this place is clean. This place is safe. I promise you. Okay, Gerard Walton. Now think about how many of y'all know what I'm talking about. That's where we're from. Sheridan Ave, Morris Ave. This is the blocks I lived on. All of those blocks go like this, just so we could be clear. There's like 2 or 3 blocks in between, like Concourse Village. I'm part of me, like the Grand Concourse. And there's a Sherman over there somewhere. Park Ave. You know what I'm saying? All of these blocks go like this. That's one neighborhood. You know, Jackson Projects, that's over there. Mitchell's. You know. They're the projects over there. Freaking Mitchell's got more people living in that projects than live in probably all of where I live at right now. I'm not even capping. Probably. I'm not even capping. Mitchell's Projects is huge. Ah. But I like where I live now, and it's actually improving. I've been seeing a gradual actual improvement in the neighborhood where I currently live. So shout out to Coach Knight. I don't know if I should talk about this, so I'm not gonna talk about it. But they were trying to do something in the community that was help the community, just so we could be clear. And they were literally told that there's a certain level of type of violence that the community needs to have in order for this thing to go through, and it's not high enough here. So when I heard that, I was like, you know what? That's a win. I'm happy that that amount of violence isn't something that's happening, you know, to create a need for this particular service. So I was happy about that. Violence is still happening, don't get it confused, but it's getting a lot better out here, and it's getting a lot better. I can see the improvement. There's not as many, like, we used to have a real bad homeless derelict issue where it was just overwhelming, and that seems to not really be that big of an issue no more neither. So, you know, a lot of improvements is happening in the community. It's literally looking cleaner. I think they need a dog park out here, though. Not for nothing. If not for no other reason, to have somewhere for people to take their dogs to shit. If not for no other reason. There needs to be like some kind of dog park where people could take their dogs to like go, especially so they could shit at these dog parks instead of all over the street. That's like the only issue that I see right now. But whatever the politicians are doing, it's working. And whoever's doing it's working. I haven't been seeing or hearing about any big drug busts or anything like that. So I'm gonna assume that whoever the local pharmaceutical people are, they got their shit together, at least in a point where the blocks aren't dirty. And you know, that's usually what my big complaint is. Like you doing business over here, you should keep it at least clean. Like if you're gonna I'm sorry to say some stupid shit, but you should keep it at least clean, you know? It should be at least. I gotta shave. We had an award ceremony the other day, man. I was given this by the they got my name, spelled my name wrong, but I was given this, and it's basically Coney Island Sharks, thank you for the support. And there's a couple of things I want to say real quick in regards to that. First thing I want to say is I appreciate y'all for allowing me to. I haven't been feeling very creative the last couple of years. And I appreciate the patience that they've had with me while I've been going through this slump of lack of inspiration. Anyway, so we had an awards show, and it was beautiful, and I should have recorded it, but I don't think of things sometimes. Like if somebody would have just said it to me, I would have just did it, you know. But it was the last thing that was on my mind. I didn't even think about it till after the show done started. And anyway, so they had the most beautiful woman there. It's like she glows. Anyway, so it was a great event. I appreciate having people to do stuff for. I don't really have people to do stuff for that I like. You know, thank you for being people that I like and allowing me to do stuff for you. I like having people to do stuff for that I like, and I don't want to do nothing for people I don't like. I don't do nothing for you. I don't like you. I don't want to do nothing for you. I'm just gonna keep it a stack. Nothing. It's gonna upset me. Really upset. I gotta do stuff for people I don't like. I don't want to do nothing. In any regard. Just the most beautiful woman. I'm gonna let y'all go. What time is it? I'm gonna try to. I have a bad habit of just saying what's on my mind, and so I'm trying hard to. This is why I can't lie. Everybody have a blessed day. Everybody have a blessed day. So when I first saw Kendra, it felt supernatural. That's how come I know. Also, time didn't feel for me like it moved like time is supposed to move. Cause so apparently, I thought I basically said something like immediately, and I was apparently standing there staring for a good 10, maybe 15 seconds. I don't know. It's like God stopped me in that moment. And while everything else happened, I and my consciousness stayed in that moment. So what do you do when you're losing time like that by just thinking about a person? They don't even gotta be there. So I'm dealing with my own stuff. I couldn't tell Kendra why I was attracted to her or why I loved her, because I couldn't quantify it. We could tell people how much we like them. We could tell people how much we want them. And we can tell people how much we need them. And I think that that's what that question was asking me more of anything than else. Anything else. But I don't believe that when you truly love a person, you even know why. I don't think it's a thing that you create, and I don't think it's a thing that they create. I think that so many relationships right now is based off of wanting somebody, needing somebody, or liking somebody. I don't want any of that. I want to be in a situation where I can give to somebody else what I believe God's love is. I don't think God will put in my heart for me to choose somebody that wouldn't reciprocate I know for a fact that I'm never gonna date somebody that I don't physically find attractive. I think that's wild that people do that. But I damn sure would never date somebody that I don't think that emotionally and spiritually we align. I need for us to spiritually and emotionally be aligned. Homegirl says she cooked from scratch. If that wasn't somebody saying I'm a wife, I don't know what is. From scratch. If you're cooking from scratch, that means that we can eat anything. That means we can eat anything. Like anything. We can eat anything. All we have to do is just get the recipe. That's it. Not a lot of people could cook from scratch. It's definitely not as simple as people think it is. Not cook. I don't cook from scratch. I was having a conversation. The person was overhearing it. And it was nodding their head yes the whole entire time. I'm not sure if they was agreeing with me or not. But what a man looks for is alignment. Alignment is important. So, back to what Sha Brim was saying about the loud women. I don't think I could be aligned with one, but I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of loud men that can be aligned with loud women, and I think they should explore dating one another. If that's fair, right? I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to beef. I want to love each other. I want to be in love. That's even more important. I want to be in the type of love that when people see us, they know. Immediately. It's not even because we're all over each other. It's the respect. And the honor. And I think that that's something that people sometimes lose. It's not about being all over your significant other. Do you respect your significant other when they're around, and do you honor them when they're not? Are you doing those two things? But what do I know? I'm single. What woman would have me? Especially since I'm only interested in one, so it doesn't matter if a 1 million would have it. So that's neither here nor there. I'm probably gonna die alone. With that being said, everybody have a blessed day. Go out into the world, do something worth doing. Stamp God's name on it. Let people know that you come in the name of the Most High. Like, comment, subscribe. Join the notification gang. Hashtag Bronx Bombers. Let's get it. I love y'all. Take care of each other. Hug the kids for me. I haven't forgotten about you. And that's all that I got on this one. I'm out.
Hey! Is the noon train on time?
Supposed to be.
Feels like it's time.
Fair enough.